106th minute, extra time, World Cup final. Ferran Torres, a substitute, rifles it into the roof of the net from close range. Spain are world champions for the second time in history, 16 years after Iniesta's extra time winner against the Netherlands in Johannesburg. And somewhere in that stadium, through the tears and the confetti and the chaos, Unai Simon, Spain's goalkeeper, was probably wondering if anyone had noticed he was even there. 8 games at this World Cup, 1 goal conceded, 6 clean sheets. His average shots faced per game? Less than 1. The man went to a World Cup and barely touched the ball, and Spain won the whole thing. Welcome back to Elite's Power, and today we're breaking down the most dominant World Cup campaign the sport has ever seen. Okay, so before we crown Spain as the greatest thing to ever happen to football, let's not forget how this tournament actually started for them. June 15th, Atlanta, Spain versus Cape Verde. Cape Verde, a tiny island nation, population 600,000, making their World Cup debut. Spain, European champions, favorites for the entire tournament, squad worth over €1 billion. 0-0. They couldn't beat Cape Verde. The Spanish press went absolutely mad. De La Fuente was questioned. Yamal was questioned. The whole system was questioned. And then, Saudi Arabia. 4-0. Uruguay. 1-0. Spain topped the group, and the conversation changes completely. But here's the detail that tells you everything about this Spain side. Even in that draw with Cape Verde, they didn't panic. They kept the ball. They kept their shape. They trusted their system. And Unai Simon, he saved 1 shot, and still kept a clean sheet. The goalkeeper, who had basically nothing to do, started as he meant to go on. This is where Spain stopped being a good team and started being something genuinely frightening. Round of 32, Austria 3-0, not close. Round of 16, Portugal 1-0. Michael Merino, late winner, off the bench. Again, round of 8, Belgium 2-1. Spain concede their first goal of the entire tournament to Charles de Ketelaere in the 67th minute. Their first World Cup goal conceded since the 2022 group stage against Japan. A run of 649 consecutive minutes without conceding. World Cup record. And Merino again, off the bench, winner. Semi-final, France. The matchup everyone was terrified of. Mbappé on 8 goals. The most in-form striker at the tournament. France's attack against Spain's defense. Unstoppable force meets immovable object. Spain win 2-0. It wasn't even close. Oyarzabal with a penalty in the 22nd minute. Porro with a thunderbolt in the 58th. Mbappé, 8 goals in 6 games going into that semi-final, had 0 shots on target against Spain. 0. He barely touched the ball in dangerous areas. Cucurella shut him down so completely that pundits were calling it the greatest individual defensive performance at a World Cup in years. And Simon? France managed 2 shots on target the entire game. He saved both. Game over. The goalkeeper, who had nothing to do, did the 2 things he needed to do. Right, we need to stop here for a moment, because Unai Simon deserves his own chapter. And I say that as someone who genuinely struggled to find things to write about him, because the man had so little to do for 8 games. Let's do the stats. 8 games, 7 clean sheets. Total shots on target faced the entire tournament. 8 shots in 8 games. That's 1 per match average. Spain conceded a tournament best 8 shots on goal, tied for the fewest by any team with at least 5 games played in a single World Cup in the last 60 years. Simon won the Golden Glove, the award for the best goalkeeper at the World Cup. His trophy case now includes a World Cup winner's medal and a Golden Glove. His workload to win those awards, saving 8 shots over 750 minutes of football. To put that in context, Haaland touched the ball more times in 1 game against Brazil than Simon was called upon to make saves in the entire tournament. Someone on Twitter put it perfectly. Unai Simon could have read a full book during this World Cup and still kept all those clean sheets. He was like a security guard at a museum that nobody tried to rob. But here's the thing, that's not Simon's fault. That's Spain's defense being so suffocating that nobody could even get shots off. Pau Cubarsí, 19 years old. Rodri shielding in front of him. Cucurella on Mbappé duty. Laporte reading everything. Simon was just there, doing his job, in a team that made his job basically irrelevant. And he still won the Golden Glove. Fair play to the man. Now, let's talk about the players who actually carried this team to the title. Because this Spain squad was different from any we've ever seen. Because the goals came from everywhere. Mikel Oyarzabal, 5 goals. He matched the Spanish single tournament World Cup record held by David Villa and Emilio Butragueño. Penalties, headers, tap-ins. He scored every type of goal in every type of situation. Oyarzabal finished as Spain's top scorer, an absolute clutch forward. He played every knockout game from the start until he was substituted to bring on Ferran Torres in the final. If you made a list of underrated tournament performers in World Cup history, Oyarzabal in 2026 belongs right at the top of it. Mikel Merino, 2 goals off the bench. Won the game against Portugal, won the game against Belgium, both times coming on as a substitute, both times late in matches. The most clutch impact sub in the entire tournament, Porro, scored twice from right back. Defensive player, scored more goals than Yamal in this tournament. Nobody saw that coming. Rodri won the Golden Ball as the tournament's outstanding player, completed 790 passes, shattering his own world record for the most passes by a player in a single World Cup. His previous record was 638 at Qatar 2022. He just sat there and passed the ball to Spain teammates for 8 games. And it worked perfectly. Rodri's nearest challengers were Pau Cubarsí with 668 and Aymeric Laporte with 618, all 3 of them Spain players. Spain's top 3 passers at the tournament, all Spanish, because nobody else got the ball. And then the man who won the World Cup, Ferran Torres. Substitute in the final, 106th minute, teed up by Nico Williams. Rifled it in, world champion. The second substitute in history to score the winning goal in a World Cup final. He'll tell that story for the rest of his life. Now I know what you're thinking. What about Yamal, the kid who was supposed to be the star of this tournament? The heir to Messi, the 19-year-old who was on every poster, every prediction, every conversation before a ball was kicked. 1 goal, 0 assists, 7 appearances. Quiet. By his standards, very quiet. But here's the thing, and this is important. Spain didn't need Yamal to be the best player on the pitch every game. They had Oyarzabal for goals, Rodri for control, Merino for late drama, Pedri and Fabian for creativity. Yamal was a threat just by being on the pitch. Every team Spain faced had to dedicate defensive resources to stopping him, which opened space for literally everyone else. And when it mattered, against France in the semi, he was the one who won the penalty that Oyarzabal converted to make it 1-0. He finished second in the Best Young Player award behind his own teammate Cubarsí, meaning Spain's players finished first and second in that category. And at 19 years old, he is now a World Cup winner. The photo that emerged after the final said everything. Messi on his way home without the trophy, and Yamal holding it for the first time. The same photo from 2007, but this time, the roles have completely changed. Football doesn't do better storytelling than that. So what does the Spain team leave behind? Spain conceded just 1 goal across 8 matches. The most defensively suffocating World Cup campaign the competition has ever seen. They weren't exciting in the way Brazil were exciting. They weren't dramatic like Argentina. They didn't have one superstar carrying everything on his back. They were just relentlessly, mechanically, beautifully better than everyone else. And the timing of this. Messi's last World Cup. Ronaldo's last World Cup. The end of an era that defined football for 20 years. Spain didn't just win a trophy. They announced that football's next era belongs to them. That's Spain's story. World Cup 2026 champions. The most dominant defensive campaign in history. The goalkeeper who had nothing to do. The substitute who won the final. The 19-year-old who became world champion. I want to know what you think. Drop it in the comments. Who was Spain's best player this tournament? Was this the greatest defensive World Cup performance ever? And most importantly, is Unai Simon the luckiest Golden Glove winner in history? If you're new here, subscribe if you want the stories behind the football. Like the video if you're celebrating Spain's win, or even if you're not. See you in the next one. Peace.